extra time.
इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRMB TMT चैंपियंस की पसंद।
TG, obviously we've played 5 games, not the result we wanted and not the position we wanted to be in. Can you do a bit of post-mortem of the 5 games you had?
I think you have to manage expectations. You know, I think you draw it all the way back. It was a brand new team who come together in isolation for 2 weeks. So you're basically living in your room for 2 weeks. And then we were hampered with the time we had before the first game, which was just over 2 week period. You know, that's no time, especially for a new team who don't know each other. So they've shown in a very short time lots of pluses, and also lots of things to work on. As far as the 5 games go, we've shown the understanding of the game needs to improve by the whole team. The first start of the match, towards the end of a match, after a goal scored. So there's lots of areas to work on. But as I said to you, it's a brand new team. It needs time, and you know, I understand it's such a big club, but you've thrown together 25 players here who've basically, as I said to you, just been sleeping in the rooms, and now go and play against these teams who've had 2 months preparation. Most of the teams know each other, so it was never going to be plain sailing. It's a process, and you have to understand the process, or you're never going to move forward.
TG, when obviously things don't go our way, every step is questioned. What do you think went wrong, not only in the last game but overall in the 5 games?
I think you can question lots of things. Us as staff, we can question the officials, can't we? Because there's lots of times we feel as though we've been hard done by officials, so we question them. And it's only in life, people will always question things they love. So the fans love the club and they want the club to win, you know, but they have to take a step back, and you know, this club's going to be here for another 100 years. Most of us won't be. So it's how we're going to get to become such a powerful club in this new ISL, which is, well, I think it's 8 years old, the ISL. So you've got established teams now. This was a big club in the last league, in the last area of life. Now this is a new area of life. So we have to build. Individual errors have cost us in last games. As I said before, game understanding of when to play, when not, and that's for the whole team. And we need to cut out individual errors, and that's just time on the training pitch and education, and you know, working harder, and you know, soon once the team get a win, and you'll see a little bit of weight lifted off all the players' shoulders, eventually you'll start moving forward.
Obviously, as you said, that things did not go our way as far as officiating is concerned. Also, we have had a few injuries. Did that scupper our plans in any way?
Of course. I mean, when you have a new team, ideally, it's no problem getting a brand new team. But ideally, you'd want minimum 6 weeks to work with them and get ideas and really work them physically, mentally. So ideally, you want that. But when you've been thrown together, it's important that you get the core of the players you know on that pitch. And as we say, the first game we played against the champions, and you know, for large parts of the game, we gave them a good game. It was a good game of football. And then, you know, the last goal was a late breakaway when the team were up the pitch. So we showed lots of times in that game that we could compete. Then the second game, we lost the captain after 2-3 minutes, whatever it was. And that's a big blow for a brand new team, because we haven't had time to really prepare for something else, because time's not been on our side. So that was a big blow. And then obviously we lost Aaron, and he's still not fully fit at the moment. And we've lost Aaron for all that time as well through an injury and training. And then you've got, you know, you have a lot of these the English-based lads, or even a German-based boy, coming over to a new climate, living in isolation for 2 weeks, going to play with a group of players which he's never played with before. So a lot of this takes time. It's impossible to put this jigsaw together straight away. It's impossible. Not for 2 weeks. Not to go and play the champions and beat the champions. And but they will improve, you know, and they have to improve. It's life of football. If you don't improve, then someone else will come and take your place. Doesn't matter where you're from or who you are, that's just life. It's like if you go and work in an office and you're not pulling your weight in an office, then I'm sure your office boss will get rid of you and bring someone else in. And that will happen to, and in football, that's just part of growing. So
you have been at some of the best clubs in England, and I mean, arguably you are now in one of the best clubs in India. How do you manage expectations of the fans? I mean, we all know what is being thrown at us right now because of the results, and also at the same time, how do you take care of the morale of the team at this juncture?
I think the expectations of all fans is always huge, especially huge clubs. But this club's never been in the ISL, ever. So it's a little bit different. The fans will still want the success they've had in past years, but football in this country now has moved on. That was the old football. Now it's the new football. So now, even though this is the biggest club, now they have to go and rub shoulders and become the best team in the ISL. Well, that will take time. That will take time. But fans, it's very hard to manage expectations. They want to see a team who are fighting at the top, and eventually they will. They will get that team eventually. But as I said before, it's a process, and they have to understand the process. They have to. It's education. It's football education. No company was built within 2 weeks, was they? I don't think Google was built within 2 weeks, or Facebook. I think it took WizKids months and years to build these companies up. So, you know, it's a new league, and it's only going one way, the league. It's going to go up, and it's going to become tougher and tougher, because there's lots of clubs with lots of money who are going to spend lots of money. So maybe in the past, East Bengal was the biggest spenders of money. Maybe now 6, 7, 8 clubs may have overtaken. So now lots of things change, because the biggest clubs in the world nearly always spend the most money.
You speak about the process, and if you could also shed some light on the squad we have and the players. Obviously now you have seen a fair bit of them, and as you speak of the process, if you could just speak about that a bit more, and also about the squad we have at our disposal policies.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got a squad of players. Like everyone's got a squad of players, and you coach them and you train them, you speak to them, and some players understand this, some players can do it, some players can't. That's just life. That happens everywhere. You know, that's not a personal thing. That's just football. That happens at Everton, at Liverpool, Man City, Man United. That happens everywhere. So there's players now playing at Real Madrid who aren't playing, or who the manager thinks aren't good enough. But some of the fans will think them players are great, but that's just life. That's just an opinion. Okay? So our players are fine. Our players are fine. And what's been tough for our players is the 2-week period of training. They would have all benefited from 6 weeks with new staff, with new ideas. They would have really benefited from it. But it's harsh on our players, because they've been given such a short time, and we're asking more questions of them. Because I said to you, football's moved on. So the questions we're asking the players now are not the same questions they would have been getting asked 10 years ago when they were youngsters. They're not the same questions. Football's changed now. So it's harsh to really evaluate everything. But in this game of football, you have to evaluate it to move forward. And that's the harsh side of it. So in general, the players are great lads. They give you everything they've got. They're trying to take it all on board. I'm not sure they always understand because of the barrier, but it's a work in progress. You know, and the ones who are looking like they can really move on are the younger boys. The younger boys look like they got a little bit more, you know-how of the game, and really, like sponges, they really want to take the information on.
Two final questions, TG. I mean, obviously now looking ahead, we play Kerala Blasters on Sunday. If you could just assess our opponent and the job at hand, and of course the games come thick and fast, so how will the team shape up? How will the team lift themselves from?
Well, the team will lift themselves. That won't be a problem. That won't be a problem because the team have competed. We've competed in all the games. Now, I'm sure Kerala have had their boys. They've done a longer. They'll have more of their boys together for longer periods. If you noticed, our team keeps chopping and changing. We haven't had a settled team yet because people have had opportunities and just haven't took the opportunities. And that's just football. So, team-wise, we will organise a team today and tomorrow. The team will be fine. They'll be up for the fight, and hopefully we can give Kerala a good game. Yeah.
The final question. I mean, a question that has been on everybody's lips, and that is, when are the goals coming? Do you think that has been addressed with Jacques, obviously?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's harsh, isn't it? We should have had 2 pens against North East, which would have put someone on 2 goals possibly. And then you got Jack's already got 2. So, you know, all of a sudden, as I said to you, it's a new team, you know, and we've had players missing. We haven't had Aaron has not been available. So, in the end, I think Man City were getting questioned not long ago about scoring goals. They've got the greatest players in the world. I think they went so many games without scoring. And then all of a sudden they scored 5, and then they scored 4, and then they scored 6. And in football, you'll always get questioned, but that's just life, you know. It's just life. We don't really worry because every club has 1 million fans, and you'll have an opinion of 100 people. It's impossible to listen to 1 million opinions every single day. So as football club and a football staff, we just keep working hard, and hopefully questions get answered in the game eventually. We'll see.
Something for the fans, a message for the fans they always want to hear from us.
Yeah, well look, the fans are everything behind a football club, aren't they? So we've come from huge clubs back in Europe, huge clubs, and this is a huge club in Asia now. So this is arguably one of the biggest clubs on the continent, and it's a new journey that they're on now. It is a new journey, and it's an exciting journey. So for all the future fans now, so clubs are built on fans, and then your granddad's a fan, and it passes down to his son, then it passes down to his son and his daughter, and it's a family thing. So when you're a fan, I was brought up in Liverpool, and so was the manager, and in the end my family were blue, his family were red, and it passes down, it just passes down. So you've generation after generation who are East Bengal fan, who in the past have been a big club, but now the landscape has changed because now you have a new league and you've only just joined it. So the support will never waver because it's in the blood. It's in the blood to support SC East Bengal. It's in the blood. And eventually they will rise again. Eventually they will rise again. And this is just the process of the club becoming a huge club. But the difference now, if we become such a big club in the ISL, you can almost try and dominate your Asia. When they were the biggest club in the I-League back in the day, it's impossible to dominate Asia. It wasn't the same. The landscape's changed now. You have the Champions League, the Asian champ. It's such big. The TV makes it big. The youngsters grow up with these players and this new idea of football, and it's all over the TV, and it's so exciting. So the fans will always be the main part of the club, and hopefully in the next 50, 60, 100 years, 200 years, all their grandchildren and children will have more happy memories than sad memories in football. So, fingers crossed, eh?
লেটেস্ট নিউজ আর এক্সক্লুসিভ ভিডিওর সঙ্গে আপডেট থাকতে এখনই সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন আমাদের ইউটিউব চ্যানেল। বেল আইকনে ক্লিক করতে ভুলবেন না যেন।